Nagler told me.
What did he tell you?
Well, he said that Gutekunst got a vision and all this stuff, and me questioning whether or not Gutekunst was a great GM or not. Still wondering if he's great and having the opportunity to prove it. I got slaughtered by Packers fans for wondering if maybe this decision doesn't work out, how will everybody be judged over there?
Oh, people nationally just aren't familiar with the dedication it takes to carry the G 24/7. That was from the Pat McAfee Show. He was name dropping our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome to the program Aaron Nagler of Cheesehead TV.com. Our conversations with Nags presented by Miller Lite Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference in Rogers Behavioral Health. Good afternoon, Nags. Have you replied to Pat McAfee on Twitter yet?
Yeah, of course. That's how I exist, right? All I replied was a lot of ball game left. A lot of ball game left. I mean, if he feels it necessary to take victory laps 7 games into Jordan Love's career and this iteration post Rodgers, I mean, he's more than welcome to, and clearly he's going to. The most disappointing part is he completely glosses over the fact that I was giving him flowers this weekend for his work on the college game day program, which he completely has revitalized, and these people are attacking him, and I'm like, he's great on that show. But apparently that escaped his attention, and he's hell-bent on proving that Gutekunst is an idiot. And look, this is the thing. This is what I took exception to way back. I mean, back in the whole kind of Rodgers war era, right? Pat is a real up person and positive about almost everything. The one time I can even remember him even remotely going after someone to the point where he questioned Brian Gutekunst's intelligence was the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers. Like, gee, I wonder where Pat was hearing about Brian Gutekunst.
There you go.
I just wonder who was talking to him about Brian Gutekunst. Maybe the guy who called him Jerry Krause. I don't know. But so it's like, fine, if you got to take pot shots, I get it. I understand it. And look, the Packers are giving him every reason to take those victory laps, right?
And if
they look bad, so I get it.
If it gets clicks and your name is involved with it, so be it.
It's a win for Cheesehead TV. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Absolutely, it is. Sure. I mean,
big W. Big W. Hey,
that?
That's more wins than the Packers have had in like 2 months, so I'll take it.
Yes,
That's
it
true.
is.
That's true. All right, so Nags, yesterday, the Packers, on the Sunday before Halloween, which is tomorrow, on the weekend when everybody was celebrating Halloween and putting on their costumes, they went and put on a costume of a bottom 5 NFL team.
Big time. I think you're being generous, but yes.
Well, on the clock in the discussion for that first overall.
Hey, Packers fans, if it keeps up like this, you won't have to wait like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours for the Packers to make their first round selection.
Yeah.
We'll be right at the top.
10:30.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
6. So, Nags, this isn't good. We just heard Matt LaFleur at the podium, and he did drop a couple of things. Like if you read between the lines, and KB was a little frustrated because he didn't get answers. To me, I heard Josh Nijman's probably going to start if he's healthy. We're changing the left tackle.
Totally read that the same way.
That was like, okay. Well, that was like Craig Counsell. We're going to have a discussion about that. That means, if Josh
the discussion's been had.
We're done with Rashid. So we're making a change at one of the most important positions on the offense. Then he was asked about evaluating Jordan Love, and he said what we're all saying. It's hard because it's not really all his fault. There's so much other. The house is on fire, and we're worried about the color of the drapes. Yes. Basically, with
1,000%.
And, then he also said, but the question about bringing in an experienced coach or changing their assignments, I thought that was going to get smacked down. And he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to change things the way we do things from Wednesday to Saturday and walk through everything is on the table.
Well, basically, he was saying these guys aren't smart enough to run this.
No, that's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
That's not what he said. No,
that was saying when he was
that is your incorrect interpretation of what he said.
Okay. Yeah. When he's talking about understanding what to do and things like that, it's like I heard that they haven't gotten it yet.
They haven't done it. They've done it. Look, when you go from college to the pros and what you're asked to do, especially a wide receiver, especially against these defenses and how they rotate, safety, etc., the shell, that's what he called it, right? The 2 high versus single high and all that stuff. It's so different. I remember talking to a scout who said in college, these guys are asked to run maybe like 9, 10 different routes, right? At the most. And then they get to the pros and there are legit like 200, 300 different variations of what they're supposed to run depending on what they see post snap, what kind of combination, what's their leverage, what is this guy rotating? Like it's a different world they're living in. And that's understand. Like I understand that aspect of it. What's frustrating for me sitting here watching this every Sunday is, well, okay, so it's pretty clear that we're running an offense designed for, guys who are playing at a high level, who have pelts on the wall, so to speak, in the league. The problem is, it's a bunch of dudes who haven't played in the league, who don't have that experience. So my frustration is, so maybe dial it back.
Maybe dial it back and dumb it down. Don't
just
give them as
bit.
Many
just a little bit
interpretive reads where they can just run patterns.
Well, no, you said they weren't smart enough. They got smarts.
Dumb it down.
Yeah,
they got smarts.
Well,
they're intelligent.
Here's the thing, like Devontae Adams, like best in the business, one of the best of all time, right?
Yep.
I'm old enough to remember when he was young, dropping passes, taking wrong turns, and misreading coverages.
Every
but then
one
they
of these
could throw to
Twitter
Jordan Nelson
GMs
or Randall Cobb, and they were also on the team. And it's like, and MVS, remember him? Like, remember Jeff Janis? Like all the guys that we've seen in the past that were picking things up. They had other guys. I heard Aaron Nagler talking about this on a video today.
Talked about it in my post-game chat yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like they used to have those guys. Now they don't. Now everybody is trying to figure out where to go and what to do, and it's just not pretty.
Can I interject here?
You may.
And it's not
Caleb.
Show. It's not Caleb Williams.
Okay,
and it's not Caleb Williams. Okay, continue.
It's not Caleb Williams.
Then you're going to see
Caleb Williams.
You're going to see the answer to all this. You're going to see people go, number one pick, get Caleb Williams, get a quarterback.
Or Drake May.
Well, all you do is start the process over again.
Yeah,
okay, with an untested. All you're doing is starting it over.
Exactly. Like I understand the desire. I understand Packers fans seeing this transpire week after week after week and getting frustrated. But if you pull back and look at this season in context, and no one will admit this in 1265, but you have to. It's a 2-year plan, right? Where you're going to take Rodgers' cap hit, which is $40 million. All the other vets, they let it go, and you're dealing already with like a $60 million cap hit before the season even started. Then you've got like $28 million worth of cap, basically tied up in injury, right? Aaron Jones hasn't been able to get on the field with any regularity, and when he does, Matt LaFleur kind of ignores him. So it's all these young guys running around, not really knowing what they're doing, but they're learning. And I understand it sucks to watch the Packers lose. I totally get that. Trust me, I do it every week with you guys. But the thought process is we're going to get through the fire this year. Next year, things are going to loosen up a little bit in the cap. Not 100%, but a little bit. You're going to retool. The guys who have been through the fire will have a year of seasoning and or experience. And you're going to see improvement, hopefully throughout the back half of this season, but definitely next year. Everybody talking about this guy should be fired, that guy should be cut. Y'all just wasting your breath. And I'm not saying I endorse this, but this is clearly the plan. So get on board. Yeah. Or just, keep bitching about it every Monday.
There is one thing that is true beyond the shadow of the doubt is that the Packers have had so much success over the last 3 decades that fans have no idea how to deal with a bad team.
Oh, yeah. That's very, very true.
Well, I have no idea. Well, This is not this is like get rid of him. This is not that type of a situation.
The knee-jerk thing, right? And that is their way of dealing with it. And I get it. I understand it. I understand the impetus. I understand the desire. Like, it is hard to watch this team play ball right now, and you want it to change. And outside looking in, your solution is fire that guy, cut that player, move that, bench that dude. Understand all of that. That's not how they're viewing this. Now, again, Corey and I talked about this on Cheesehead TV last week. Like, I don't sit here and tell you this is how I would have done it. This is not what I endorse, but it's clearly their plan. Can we let their plan at least transpire before we want everyone thrown out? Like, I get it. At the end of next year, if we're sitting here and they still have won like 2 games in the season or whatever, then fine. Yeah, fire everybody. I'm there. I get it. But, man, there is clearly a long lens look from on top here at 1265 Lombardi. That's the plan. I'm anxious to see how it transpires rather than let's kill everybody, blow it all up 7 games in.
Okay, where have you seen improvement?
Oh, that's a good question. I've seen slight improvement from various members, but nothing consistently. And that's the problem. Every time you get somebody who makes a nice play or has a good catch, look at Dontavian Wicks. Perfect example. A guy who was balling out all throughout the first kind of 4 or 5 games, limited snaps, but every time he touches the field, he's looked really good. Yesterday has an opportunity for a big-time catch down in the red zone, monster drop.
Monster.
You know, this is a guy who's played really well, and then he drops a really important kind of, you know, what would have been first and goal, etc.
Probably a touchdown.
Maybe a touchdown if he goes
maybe.
in. But this is what we were talking about before. Remember Devontae Adams, his rookie year. He had a monster drop against the Patriots. They ended up winning that game because Mike Daniels and company sacked Brady on 3rd down, but that's a monster drop that should have won the game. Devontae Adams went on to do great things. And I'm not saying Wicks is going to do that. I'm not saying Watson or Dobbs are the next Devontae Adams. But can we let these guys develop? I understand it's frustrating, but this is the plan. We are going to have to take our lumps as fans, as a team, etc. I just wish people could react in any other way other than fire everybody.
Well, and you've forgotten because they've had such an old team for such a long time that young players make mistakes across the board. I'm old enough to remember a playoff game when Micah Hyde, one of my favorite Packers, one of my favorite NFL players, dropped an interception that would have been a pick six that would have won them the game, and they lost.
Yep.
That was about 10 years ago.
Yep.
I think it was his rookie year.
And
he's a terrific player. But he, in a playoff game of his rookie year, and you can say there's no rookies in the playoffs anymore. Against 49ers, he dropped a pick six and basically cost them a game. Ended up being a terrific player. But that's
all-timer.
Comes with youth.
And look, I get it. There's probably people screaming at the radio right now. Like, I'm sick and tired, and I think everyone around the Packers is sick and tired of hearing the youth excuse. Like, I get it. But that doesn't change the fact that they are young. You know what I mean? Like, I get we're all here tired of hearing it, but it's the truth.
Right. Well, let me say this: glass half full. All right. Give you a glass. I'll give you a glass half full.
Is it glass half full of Drew and KB
Drew
bourbon?
KB bourbon?
There you go.
I finished that. Here's a glass half full. All these young players making all these mistakes. I'm going to say this right now. Thank God Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, because I couldn't put up with it.
You know what's so funny?
I could not watch the disgusting. I just wouldn't be able to.
I saw some of the greatest cope I've ever seen on Twitter today, where someone replied to one of these multiple kind of discussions about the youth on this team, etc., and all the penalties, right? All of the penalties. Someone said this was the greatest cope ever. They were like, well, it's clear that Aaron Rodgers yelling at people last year kept these penalties in check.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was...
Come on.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Penalties, it has gotten to the point where it's back to the 80s, where all of a sudden you see a good play and you immediately look for the yellow thing to pop up on the...
When you have more penalties than points, that tends to be an issue.
Absolutely. Look,
and had 11 penalties and 10 points.
I don't think for a second that Matt LaFleur should skate on this, right? Because I get it's young and there's somebody different every game and every drive making these mistakes, but at some point, do these guys, what do they do during practice? What are they doing all week? Like, what are you practicing or emphasizing as a coach? You get what you emphasize. Well, it's clear you're not emphasizing technique. It's clear you're not emphasizing making sure you don't get penalized, because they are penalized insane amounts every single week.
If they had the sign on the wall of the break room like they do at trucking companies or manufacturing places, days without an accident.
Days without an accident.
Plays without a complete colossal screw up. It's always like
it'd be always reset to zero.
Because Andy Herman's video on the 3rd and 1 handoff to AJ Dillon.
Oh, where like 4 people screw up.
4 offensive linemen screw up, and then they're looking. Zach Tom's looking at it like, what you were supposed
Zach
to
Tom's the
in.
one dude like you can count on up front. The one guy.
Yeah, the rest of them right now, it's a crapshoot.
Although I will say, shout out to Elton Jenkins on that play. I don't think he covers himself in glory, but overall, he had a good game yesterday.
He did.
As opposed to last week where he was not great.
So, Nags, in the silver lining department on the way out here, Rashawn Gary gets his deal in the total Packers way. He signed it Saturday morning. We find out Monday morning after a loss. He didn't have a great game. Preston Smith, stood out more than Rashawn Gary, probably.
Well, Rashawn should have had a sack. I understand his head goes into Kirk Cousins' helmet and he gets a flag. But I tell you what, if that's a different crew, if it's not Hockey Lee, God, this team in Hockey Lee is the worst. If it's not Hockey Lee, that probably doesn't get thrown. But whatever.
All right, so but where are you? Are you at peace with it? It had to happen. He's an elite player. He's their best defense player. Because you can make a case like Jair, Kenny Clark. Are they having the impact that their paychecks would indicate that they should be having?
Well, you can't operate like that. You can't operate on fear of regression
Right.
or whatever. And look, you can talk about deserves got nothing to do with it. Worth has nothing to do with it. It's the going rate. It's what the market will bear. And he is one of the best in the business at putting the quarterback on his back. I understand there are misgivings about how he plays the run on certain situations, or maybe possibly like overrunning the quarterback every once in a while. Like he flies by, gets too far upfield, opening the door for some of these mobile quarterbacks. I understand all that. But, man, just look at – you can look at the tape or you can look at the metrics. He wins in every metric. Heading into Sunday's game, he was number 1 in pass rush win rate. It's like the guy just beats tackles to the quarterback, which is the name of the game and how you get paid. As far as new money goes, he's 5th overall in the league as far as edge rushers go. That's about right, I think. I mean, he's not a top Bosa, but he's pretty damn good.
He's not Myles Garrett. He's not
Bosa, but he's not being paid like either of them. So that's fine by me. You are paid what the market will bear, and that is the market.
Now, if it's a quarterback, we say get him some weapons. Do we say get Rashawn some help? Because
we spent the last decade talking about
help.
We spent the last decade talking about getting Kenny Clark some help, and that's fallen on deaf ears. Although, hey, I will say, and I do want to – TJ Slayton – and Devontae Wyatt both played well yesterday. They're not going to get a lot of flowers because there's not like huge highlight plays, but both of them put some really good stuff on tape yesterday. So it's not a complete lost cause. You want to talk about silver linings? There's a couple for you.
Where is the next victory going to come? It's been more than a month.
Sunday, baby.
Sunday.
Come on.
Chargers.
If they can't beat the Rams with the backup quarterback at home in their 50s uniforms, come on now.
Let's just hope it's not a moral victory. We need actual victories.
We need real dubs.
Yep. We need dubs, not something to make us feel better.
Real dubs.
Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV, brought to us by Miller Lite, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference in Rogers Behavioral Health. Nags, get back to it. Keep putting out that content. We'll talk to you Friday.
Absolutely. Doing my live chat in 15 minutes at Cheesehead TV. Thanks so much, guys.
There you go. Aaron Nagler.